So, good morning, all of you. So, today we shall discuss a brief introduction to R programming language. So, this R programming language is typically used for statistical computing and graphical presentation. So, it is not a full fledged programming language, it is only for these kind of machine learning based applications and which comprises of huge computing. So for those applications where we have large processing of data, mainly based on the statistics, for that purpose, this programming is highly useful. So it is used to analyze and visualize the data. So visualization will be through the generation of graphs. So just like Python, this is also one of the programming language. Similarly, you might have used the MATLAB for the processing. So it is that one only. So its advantages lies in data analysis, data visualization, uh, machine learning, and data science. So the various statistical techniques like statistical tests, classification, clustering, data reduction, all the features are provided in this R programming language through various packages. In this particular language, it is easy for us to draw the charts, bar graphs, histogram, scatter plots, 3D visualization graphs, all those things. So this language is can be used on either Windows, Mac, and Linux platform also. So it is open source and free. It has a community support. So which means when you are developing an application and you're stuck somewhere, so you can take the help of the community and the community will build the packages and upload. So you can utilize those packages and libraries to build your application. So again, it has many packages that can be used for solving different purposes. So almost all the machine learning algorithms, classification related to clustering, all are already present in the libraries. So just we can make use of those existing libraries to build our own application. So it is a very simple programming language. So no need to have any prior experience also. So we can install this particular programming language. Okay. So you can simply visit this particular website. Okay. So I hope it is visible. Yeah. So in this tutorial, so they have given the installation procedure for this particular programming language. Okay. So which are the packages that are required to perform the data manipulation, visualization, and computation. So all those things are there. So there is one editor come interactive language processor, that is RStudio. So you can install this particular software to run the R programs. So here, yeah, the installation procedure is there. So we can download and install the R first. just like how we install the JDK for Java. So we can install the R first. So from their software repository, so we can install the R program first. Then what we can do is we can go and install the R Studio. Okay, so this R Studio you can download. So by selecting your required platform and the number of bits in the operating system, whether you want the 32-bit or 64-bit installer, so you can select it. So just follow the procedure. So just click on next and finish. So wherever you encounter, then on opening the window will look something like this. Okay, so editor window will be there where you will write the program. Then a console window to get the output, text output. So graphical output, we have one window, one part. Then the entire environment where we can browse through the folders and files of the uh, programs or project. So can be observed over here. So four windows will be present. So we can look at the you can read out this interface to R Studio. Okay, so the console window, script window, environment, and graphical. So and here detailed procedures are given to install the packages. Okay, so it has a vibrant set of packages, so you can install them. So the procedure to install is given over here, and you can follow it. So let us open that particular window which I have already installed. So this is the R Studio, okay, window which I have opened here. So the basic computations you can do uh, here. The commands, everything can be written here itself. So then we'll get the output in the console window. So we can do a simple computation here like this. So 5 plus 6. So you can get the output here itself. Okay. So in the console window. So then a simple for loop can be written like this: for. So within the braces, I in. So the starting and ending values can be written like this. So for I in 1:10. So now the looping can be done like this: print x. Yeah, it is print I. So I is our variable, so it has printed from 1 to 10. So for I is it I in 1 to 1:10, print I. So this is how we can write the code here. Even we can spread our code across multiple lines. So just like how we write in our normal program. So if we don't want it in a single line, so we can write it. So until that particular statement is completed, so it will not execute and it will later on give the results. So no need to put the semicolons and all whenever we are writing these kind of commands. So and comments, comments can be specified using this hash symbol. Okay, so this is for comments. So hash symbol, so nothing will happen. If you have multi-line comments, so there is no syntax for multi-line commands, unlike the other programming language where we would have written a multi-line comments like this. So this is not present. We have to put hash only. So in front of all the lines, so we have to put the hash symbol only. Now, in order to create the variables, so variables are the containers to store the data. So our program does not have the commands or statements for declaring a variable. So a variable is created the moment you assign the value for it. So in assigning a value, you can use the arrow mark symbol. So like this, variable I, so you have to use the arrow mark like this. I is equal to hello world. So this assigns the string hello world to the variable I. So this is the arrow mark symbol, like less than and followed by hyphen symbol. So this is how you can write. So now the variable I is having the value hello world. Now when I print the I, so it is printing the value hello world. Okay, so either we can use the print command or directly just print the variable. Here this using of the two characters for assignment, that is, one is this less than symbol and hyphen together, so that may look tedious for people, because in traditional programming, uh, in all other programming languages, so we'll use is equal to symbol. So the programmers will be, having a habit of using is equal to. So that is also there in R. So we can, instead of using this particular symbol, it would be easier for us to uh, use is equal to. So, but in some contexts in R, we cannot use is equal to operator. So that's why they will use this particular symbol. So for simple computations, so we can use this one. So like this z is equal to 500. So this way also we can assign, or we can also print the value using this one. Okay, print command, or you can just simply give z over here. So this is about variables, printing or output variables. So we can print using the print command, print function, or we can directly use the variable itself. So it's up to the programmer to use the print function or not to use it. Okay, and whenever we are placing expression inside the curly braces, so we will use the print method, because in the curly braces we cannot put the variable. So just like how we print I over here. So when we have a situation like this, if we want to print I, so we cannot write simply I over here. For that purpose, it is mandatory to use the print method. Okay. So then concatenation can be done. Concatenation means joining or two or more elements. So using the paste method. So there is a method called as paste. So paste method can be used for concatenation. So for example, now if we want to paste, both the variable I and Z. So I can just write I comma Z and then put enter. So it will give a hello world 500. So you can observe over here. So if it is not visible, so let me just cut down the size. Let me try to zoom in. Yeah. Okay. So I hope it is visible now. Okay. So paste I comma Z. So paste I comma Z is used for concatenation. We can concat any number of variables, elements, or directly we can supply the value over here. We have to use the comma operator. Okay. So each element should be separated by comma. So this is for concatenation. And mathematical operator, so we can use plus symbol. So if we want to add Z plus 100, so we can write, so Z is having the value 500, so plus 100 it has displayed 600. So we can store this particular value in some variable also, say y. So now if we print y, so we'll get the value. So basic mathematical operations can be performed this way also. Okay. But if you want to combine, text and an integer, it is not possible using the plus operator. So for example, I is having hello world. So if I write I plus Z, so Z is having 500. So we are getting a error message. That is, it is a non-numeric argument to this plus operator. So if it is a non-numeric operator, so we cannot use it. And we can assign value to multiple variables in a single statement. So for example, so if I want to assign A, then B, then let us say C. So for all the three variables, so I want to assign a value, maybe a string or like this. Now for all the three variables, so you can see A, B, and C. For all of them, the value is getting assigned. But can we do the same with is equal to? So let us try that and check whether it is possible. So you can observe we can do the same stuff by using the is equal to also. Now also we are getting the output. So variables naming convention. So they can have short names or more descriptive. But here are some of the restrictions. So variable name must start with a letter. And later on, it can have the combination of letter, digits, and dot operator. Dot and underscore are allowed. So if it starts with a dot, it cannot be followed by a digit. So and variable name cannot start with a number or underscore. Okay. So in this particular language, the variable names are case sensitive. So you can see when I type it capital A, it is throwing error message, that is the object A not found. So one thing you might observe in this error message, it is saying object A. So which means in this particular R programming language, everything is an object. So these are about the mathematical operators which we can perform. So when we came across the data types, so the variables in this particular language, so they can store uh, different types of data, and this particular variable need not be declared to any particular type. and we can even change the value. So the value may be from a different domain. So and it doesn't matter. So here for the variable a, so we have string. So we can assign integer also like this. Now a got integer value. So variables are not bound to any particular type, and it can be changed anyway. So R has a variety of data types and object classes. Okay, so the basic numeric types, integer, even complex numbers. Okay, so like this. So complex numbers can be assigned. Just say I plus uh, 8 plus 3i. So it is a complex number. Okay, so you can say z is equal to 8 plus 3i. So it is a complex number. So where I is the imaginary part. So we can have character, logical, I mean Boolean can also be written. So say false, z is equal to false. Now if we print, so I will get false. So true or false can also be mentioned. And if you want to check the data type, so we can simply use the function that is the class. So just verify class of z. So it is saying it is logical. Then uh, class of I, let us say. So it is saying character. Then class of X. So object X we have not defined. So let us define. Then class of X. So it is saying numeric. So we can verify the data type of a variable using this particular class method. So the various data types include numeric, then complex. We didn't write complex yet. So z is equal to, yeah, this one. And then let us try to print the class of z. So it is saying it is complex. So that will be helpful for us if we want to, know the data type. Okay. So three number types are there in R: numeric, then integer, and complex. So numeric data types is most commonly used. So like 55, 10.5, then 100, 10. So all those things are numeric. So we have integer. So integers are numeric data without decimals. That's it. So if decimals are included, then it becomes numeric. Only numeric data without decimal, it is a integer. So this is used when we are certain that we will not be using the decimals. And integer, so we can write like this. So z is equal to 15 followed by L. So this L indicates it is a integer. Now if we check the class of z, we can observe it is integer. Then type conversion is also possible. So we can convert one data type to another using the as dot method. So for example, we can write like this: a is equal to as as. So this as is a keyword. As dot um, numeric of z. Let us say z. So z is an integer, so we are converting it into numeric. Now if we print class of a, So then it is printing numeric. So as dot numeric. So similarly, we have as dot integer, as dot complex. So we can convert like this. So as dot complex. So now A is complex. So what is A? A is having 15 plus 0i. So because the value of Z is 15, so plus 0i. So this is how we can convert numeric values. So simple arithmetic operation, that is plus, minus, they can all be performed. So there are built-in mathematical functions, so such as max. So we can print the maximum. So like this, or minimum. So minimum. So 2 is printed. Then we have square root. Okay, so square root can be printed. So it prints in the decimal format. Then we have absolute method. So ABS, absolute. Okay. So this ABS function returns the positive value of the number. So here let us give a negative number. So it has given a positive. So irrespective of whether number is positive, negative, the result will be positive value only. Then we can have a floor and ceiling operations. So when we have the decimal data, so we can round a number either to upward or to downward. So ceiling. So this function is present in many programming languages. So ceiling of letter, give the same number. So ceiling of 53.6, so it has given 54. If I want to perform the floor operation, same number let me give, so it will give 53. So these are the few functions, that is max, minimum, square root, absolute, ceiling, and floor operation. So similarly, this provides a string facility for storing the text. A string should be surrounded either by a single quote or double quotes. So just like how we have already used it. Okay, so directly it has printed, or we can use a single quote also, like this. We can have string variables also, so we can store them. Okay, like this. So multi-line strings are also possible. So we can have a string in multi-line. So if we don't close it, so it will give like this. So when we close, so the string gets ended. Now if I print str, so we'll get the message, but here that /n is also injected. So this R programming will add this /n at the end of each line break. So that /n is a escaping character indicating it is a new line. So suppose if we want to break the lines, uh, instead of having /n in the same position of the code, so we can use this cat method. So cat str. So now instead of this /n, so we have a line break. So break gets inserted instead of /n. So that is cat method. Then string length we can print. So the method is nchar. So nchar, it will give the number of characters in the string. So it is somewhat different from other languages where we used to print length or count, but here it is nchar. So n indicates the number of characters. So then if you want to verify whether a certain character sequence or a substring is present in a given string, so we can use g repel, g repl. Here we can search whether this particular substring is present in the string. So you can see R is the pattern that we are searching. Then in the variable str. So whether this is present or not, so based on that we'll get the output. Suppose let us change it. So it is giving false. So TARE is not present in the string. So we can again combine two strings or any variable using paste method. So which we have discussed already. So if you want to insert the characters, special characters, that is a new line, space, tab. So we have to use the backslash. So that will act as a escaping. Suppose if in the string itself, I want to have a double quote. So like this. I want to put it in the double quote only. So then we need to escape this character and then we can write like this. One more escape and then we'll do. Like. Now if I print str, so it is printed with escape. So if we don't want the escape, so we will just use the cat. So using the cat, the escaping characters are eliminated. So for new line, we can use /n. For carriage return, it is /r. For a tab, it is /t. And for backspace, it is /b. So those we can utilize. So if we want to use the backslash itself, then we can escape the backslash with another backslash. That's it. Then we can perform the logical operations also. Suppose if we want to check whether 5 is greater than 6, so we got false. So if we change it, then true. And if you want to check it for equality, we can do like this. So z is equal to 9. So we can check now double equal to, so it is given true. So this greater than equality, then less than can be verified. So even we can compare two variables also. Okay. We can use a looping constructs. A simple if statement would look like this. So if z is greater than 5, then what we want, so we can put it in a brace. Okay, so if it is so, we will print z is greater. Like that. we can simply close. Okay. So it has printed Z is greater because the Z value is 9. Uh, Similarly, we can also put the else case also. Okay, so else print like this. Okay. So this is taking the plus operator also. So it is printing Z is greater. So let us assign Z is equal to some smaller value, Z is equal to 2. Now again we shall run. So it is printing Z is lesser. So just like this, we are running the command here itself. So what we can do is we can place the code in a separate file. So just like how we do in uh, programming languages, and just run the file itself. So the various operators include uh, arithmetic operators. Arithmetic operators include addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, exponential, then a mod operation, then integer division operation is also there. So there is a separation. So a division operation would look like this. So double, double percentage will act as a mod operator. Okay. So 5 percentage 3. So mod operator. So double percentage has to be used. So for division, same symbol 5 by 3. If you want integer division, then we have to use the percent 5% divided by percentage 3. So it is giving 1. So which means it is an integer. So decimal will be flipped off. So exponential operation. So 5, then followed by the cap symbol 3. So 5 power 3, 125. So multiplication again same star. So 15. So these are the arithmetic operators. So the other operators are assignment operator. So assignment we have already discussed. So that is arrow mark or is equal to. So and it is here in this R programming, it is possible for us to change the direction also of this assignment also. So instead of this, we can use like this. 4 is stored in T. So reverse direction. If you print T, we'll get the value. So in R programming, we can have global variables also. If we want to assign the values to global variable, so put two this less than or greater than symbols like this. So TT gets assigned. So this indicates, so this TT is a global variable. Okay. So for global variable, so 2 times this less than or greater than symbol should be added. So the direction can be in any way. So next is the comparison operator. So comparison operator is double equal to, we can use, yeah, we can use not equal to also, so same as the other programming languages like this. Then less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, and logical operators also can be used This is the ampersand, then double ampersand, logical AND operator, element wise logical AND operator, then logical NOT. Okay, so these things can be used. The series operator is also there. So just we saw in the beginning, that is a colon. So this is for series. So if I want 1 colon 10, it indicates that is a series 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like this. So you can see this, it can be printed. So if you want to find whether an element is present in the vector or not, so we can use percentage in percentage operator. Okay, then we have percentage star percentage for matrix multiplication. So matrix multiplication can be done using percentage star percentage. So on one side we'll put one matrix, on the other side another matrix, so it will print the matrix multiplication. So finding an element in vector, percentage in percentage. So this is the operator. So these three are the miscellaneous operator. So they doesn't belong to any category as such. Okay, so then it has conditional if statements, for statement, else if statement, then nested else if is also possible. You can write one if statement inside another if statement. So for writing the if condition, we can use the and operator, single and operator, or operator can be used. Then while loop is present, for loop is present. Okay, so those looping statement, break statement, they're all the basic operations which are present in many of the languages are provided here. It's here also. Okay, so just like continue statement, here we have next operator. So if you want to continue the loop without exiting, then exiting and continue the next iteration, then we can use the next statement. So just like how we use continue in C statement, then we can put for loop inside a if, or we can put if statement inside a for. Like that. Nested loops are also possible. Okay, so we shall stop here for today's discussion. So in our next class, we shall study a few more features of R programming, okay, for special functions that are provided by this, and how to write our own function and passing the arguments to that. And then we'll move forward, okay, with the concepts that are required to understand the examples that are given in the prescribed textbook. Okay, so you can enter your attendance in the chat window and you can exit.